Welcome back to Real Geek Media. It is Thursday, April 10th, 2025. We have a fun show in store for you guys tonight. I am Hayden Stoll. He is author Christopher Michael Blake, and we are joined with the founders of the Freehold Ghost Tours and Ghoul Squad, Becca and Ken. We're so happy to have you guys.
Thanks for having us.
So I think it's safe to say that you're the kind of people we want to have around a campfire to tell us some stories or a haunted house and give us some great insight into what you guys do. We're very excited to have you. Let's start from the beginning. How did this all come to life?
Oh man, how far back we go?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say Ken and I are best friends. We met in 2021. Both we worked for still work for Paranormal Books and Curiosities in Asbury Park. We were tour guides. I'm actually wearing the shirt from the Jersey Devil Festival,
Nice.
the annual.
I heard a good author's going to be there on May 5th. I don't know who that author would be. I think. I know he's there. I don't know who it is. I'm just going to think about it.
That's so funny. See you there. But yes, the owner, Kathy Kelly, is great. And I honestly didn't know I was going to get into tours and being a tour guide, but her passion sort of rubbed off on me and I loved it so much. I was like, I gotta bring this to my hometown of Freehold, and I've lived in Freehold my whole life. So then the past 3 years, it just became digging deep into history, gathering ghost stories from locals or just personal, like bizarre out there stories from locals. And for me, it's a way to appreciate history. It started as, I like being spooked, and now it's not really scary. It's over the past few years and then working at the museum and doing my own thing. It's become more of this isn't scary. This is just another way of learning. It's a study. It really is. It's a study. But the Freehold tours have been so rewarding so far. It's like bringing the community together, and it's only in its second year right now, and was far more successful than I expected. So I'm really happy with it. And I honestly couldn't do anything without, like, seriously, such a big support, so helpful. He's the research guy. He, when we do I'm sure we'll get into our trips, our excursions, he's my go-to guy. Gotcha.
Now, let me ask you a question. When you guys go out on these trips, I watched some of the YouTube videos. It seems like you guys are in a graveyard.
Sometimes.
A lot of the time.
What can the average participant kind of expect on one of these tours? Is it a trolley tour or?
Oh, so the Freehold ones are walking tours in downtown Freehold. However, I gathered so many stories that some of them extend past the borough into the township or neighboring towns or just off the walking route. So I'm working on a book. It's almost done. It's the same name as the tour, Dark History and Hauntings of Freehold. Aiming to have that out by October, and then I could be an author at the
There you go.
But yeah, it's on foot. It's walking. It's like a little under 2 hours. It's just like a nice night out.
Mm-hmm.
If I could do it, probably I would. I'd love to. Maybe.
So do you have a personal favorite haunted spot on the tour?
Ooh,
I know I do.
On my tour.
On your tour,
Go for it. Come in closer.
Well, it's the second to the last location.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a house in Freehold. Not spoiling anything, but it's a house in Freehold, and when you walk up to it, you instantly get the feeling that almost like there's somebody. It looks like a regular, early 1900s house, but you get the feeling that maybe you're being watched from something inside. And as Becca tells a story, you're looking up into the windows of this house, and you just get this eerie feeling. And it's not overtly scary. It's not an overtly terrifying story. It's just to me, it's one where, like, almost along the lines of stuff that we deal with all the time, but just, I don't know, it's very, very creepy, and I won't spoil anything about it, but you have to take the tour to get the full story.
Absolutely, but I actually like that one because that story I kind of came across by accident. It was a family home 100 years ago, but the last 30 years, and an accountant has been working out of there. It's been his office. And I just visited him one day to like sign some paperwork. And then a year later is when I started working on the tour. And when I went in there to sign paperwork, I remember just getting this strange, and I'm not even sensitive to this kind of stuff. I think over the years I've been better at picking up these things because of all these trips we've been on. But I just felt like I wasn't alone and brushed it off like whatever. Like, why would I even bring this up to my accountant? It's not what we're talking about right now. But when I was putting together this tour, I was like, wait a minute. Let me just see if he has any stories. And I reached out to him. He was like, oh my gosh, boy, do I have stories. And he ended up telling me it's wild. It's crazy. And it ended up, of course, unearthing more history from Freehold. So I just love how it was a way to appreciate that history. But it is creepy. It's not like a violent story. It's just creepy.
Not Conjuring level.
It's things he saw and felt, and other people experiencing the same things at different times. It's always more validating too when people come together and then share their stories and are kind of like, wait, you were seeing that too, and you were seeing that too, and then that is a good one. That's definitely a good one.
Now I'm gonna pivot a little bit. Ken, can you tell us a little bit about Ghoul Squad?
Yeah, so Ghoul Squad was founded. We founded it back in, I believe it was August of 2021. We were actually just talking about our original case. Our first case was actually out in Bristol, Pennsylvania.
Oh God!
And it's funny, when we first started out, it's actually before we were the Ghoul Squad, we would just go and explore urban legends around the area. And
Jersey Devil, and
it eventually
for fun.
It evolved into full-blown paranormal investigations, and we expanded outside the New Jersey area. The furthest we've now gone is Illinois. The furthest we will soon be going is Louisiana. We've covered a majority, if not the entirety, of the East Coast. So we've been doing this now 4 years now. And it's brought us to a lot of very unique locations. We've done a couple private cases too. We did them with.
Oh yeah.
But we haven't taken on full personal cases yet, so we haven't gone into people's personal houses yet. We do have a couple lined up in the South within the next year. I'll leave it at that because they are private cases. So we are working on getting down there and investigating for them. But the locations we've gone to have ranged from abandoned psychiatric hospitals to tuberculosis hospitals to, in some cases, we've been to places where really horrible crimes have been committed. And each one has had their own story to tell. And each one has had varying degrees of paranormal activity as well.
And each time we go, it's sort of to get answers for ourselves of like what's out there. Like we're skeptics. I'm not going to see something and assume it's something paranormal. Like I'm a skeptic through and through. I'm just kind of here to gather evidence and gather answers. And when it comes to, the house calls that we're going to in the South, it's more of to bring those people peace. Like we kind of approach it the same but different, if that makes sense. I don't want to use the word fun for the asylums, but we had fun doing the asylums. So that was just more like for fun, not for easing anyone's sort of feelings or. But yeah, there's a lot of elements.
If myself and Hayden never encountered a ghost, I would push Hayden toward the ghost and run the opposite way. So don't feel bad.
Love it. Love that plan.
That's my plan. Yes.
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Yeah, but you're afraid of that spider back in college. You know what I'm talking. Yeah, yeah, that's inside joke. Me and Hayden there.
I do have to say, I love the name Ghoul Squad because the first thing that pops in my head is Mystery Incorporated and the Scooby Gang, and I'm like,
yes,
that's the. I love it. I love it. Ghoul Squad is such a cool name.
He's got a minivan.
Yes.
We literally travel everywhere in this minivan, and I started calling it the Mystery Mobile.
Yes, you have to. You almost have to paint it like teal and orange.
considering it.
We've been
But that literally is our Scooby van.
Yep.
Yes, that's awesome. I love it. I love it.
10,000 miles on it.
Wow.
It's been holding it since that car's from 2007.
Yeah.
It made it all the way to Illinois, and you know, not going to question it.
Yep.
There you go.
She's holding up.
So has anything ever happened, whether you're on a tour or you're at one of these, places doing an investigation, has anything ever happened that made you just do a double take? Just kind of like, whoa, I was not expecting that.
Yes,
Absolutely.
100%.
I'll take Lizzie, you take Trans-Allegheny.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first time we visited the Lizzie Borden house, it was as tourists. We were just like, this is a famously haunted place. We want to visit, check it out. I was already kind of like, I don't know if I believe in ghosts or not. This was the thing that kind of really changed my perception. Like, oh my gosh, this could be legit, because the whole time we were there, it was just one thing after the other after the other. I have the whole video on YouTube. It's 40 minutes, but it was just, we were asking questions and getting responses that correlated. What was like
Spirit box sessions.
the spirits box sessions? We said
they're responding on the REM pods as well.
Well, for those who don't know, we have different devices. Like, oh, actually, hang on a sec. Hang on. Ken, you take over. I'm gonna grab this thing real quick.
Okay. Especially with that case, it was especially for myself as well. It was the first time that I think her and I were actually getting direct responses, things we couldn't rule out. For example, you're hearing on the spirit box something saying, "I'm in the corner," and then we have an alarm, which she's trying to pull out. Here we go, here, a version of it going off at the same time, and we're asking, "Can you come closer to us?" And it starts setting off another alarm after saying yes. It was kind of one of those things where we sat there, and there was no rational explanation for that, and that's probably the first time we ever had that where we could not explain that away.
And it was the consistency of it. By the way, this is EMF reader. My brain just stopped working for a second. It'll detect electromagnetic fields. So it's not just for paranormal investigating. I could use it around my house right now if I wanted to, but it's a nice tool. So if there's any, deviation in the activity that it's getting, the lights or whatever, or the correspondence to things that we're asking, it's an interesting tool to use. But like the thing that got me at the Lizzie Borden house was we were doing a session with a spirit box. And it's always nice to have someone there who is on the site often. So our tour guide, his name is Phil. Shout out to Phil. He's a friend of ours now. But it's cool that he knows what every night is like, and we were completely new to it. And he was great where he didn't tell us anything, nothing to expect. He started with, you're not going to get answers on who murdered who in this house or whatever, but you may get answers in regards to the existence of the afterlife. So towards the end of the night, because we were going overtime, because it was an event you sign up for, and this voice kept coming through the spirit box saying, stand up, like, get up, stand out, like, demands that definitely implied it didn't want us there. Wow. So then when everything wrapped up, I'm like getting chills thinking about it. Phil goes, just so you know, every time we do these investigations, and if we happen to go over time, it's the end of the night when we start hearing that voice that we believe is Andrew Borden, one of the murder victims, for anyone who doesn't know, telling people that it's time to leave, it's time to go home. But the fact that we experienced that, not planned, nothing. So, and that's all on my YouTube channel. But that's what like changed my frame of mind with the paranormal. Even just walking in there, like the feeling of that place.
Wow.
And then, and I've never been like scared until Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
When we went there, it was the name it held for most of its operational existence was the Weston State Hospital in West Virginia. And that hospital has a very dark, tragic history. And we had gone into that kind of blind on the information about it. intentionally. We had heard some people go, "Oh, it's haunted. Oh, it's not haunted. Oh, it's this type of haunting." We were kind of just like, we'll just go there and see. And not joking, we went there on a dark and stormy night, rolled up with thunder and lightning in the background. We're like, okay, we'll set in the mood. And I mean, the second we started walking through those halls, it was, okay, this is going to be different than anything we've ever done before. And the thing that I will never forget to this day, you don't usually often see apparitions. You don't usually see, it's very rare to actually see like figures or anything like that. But I will never forget looking down this hallway, and what I saw was a black shadow on the floor that appeared to be crawling, and I described it as a half human, half snake shape. And I just sat there and stared at it as it went into this room. And I was shocked by it, and I thought, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? And the person who was next to me in the hallway goes, "You're seeing it too." And I'm like, "What are you seeing?" He goes, "They crawl into the room." And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And there was nothing in that room. And it turned out, we found out later on that night that there is an entity there that they've caught on camera before, that they refer to as the creeper, which is usually on the higher floors. And some have hypothesized that it's about as close to what some people will describe as a demonic entity, as you're going to, without, in scientific terms. It's extremely hateful. And we instantly, when we went to the top floor, instantly feel it. And it was an overwhelming feeling of being hated. And I could not wait to get off of that floor. It was the first time, I think the only time, me and her had ever walked into a place, got up there and said, "What have we gotten ourselves into?"
We needed a drink after that.
Oh, yeah, we did.
But I will say, I was like, Ken, you're seeing things, like your eyes are playing tricks on you. And then the tour guide takes us up the next floor and goes, "By the way, this is what people sometimes see, is this thing crawling across the floor."
And television shows have
yeah, television shows caught on camera.
And we think we did too, second time.
Possibly. And oh yeah, we went a first time, and then we did a full overnight private investigation with a small group of us. Yeah. That building is huge. Like we can get into Kirkbride buildings later, and he's writing a book about it. Yeah. But they're huge, and they're labyrinths, and it was a lot to manage as a group of 8 people. Yeah. But that was.
Now, I have to ask: did the creeper touch any of you while you guys were there? Because I know that has happened.
Not me, thank God.
I do know.
Didn't Kathy or someone get tapped or something? Or
yes, well, I know when because it had interacted with me the first time. When we went back the second time, they kind of used us, or kind of used me as bait, and had me stand in the middle of the hallway. And they attempted to go, you've showed yourself to Ken before. Just go up, just grab his ankle or something. I'm sitting there turning around like, I beg your pardon, what's going on?
I've noticed, though, in these last 2 stories, kind of that backs up my point. When things happen to us, it's when we're not seeking it out. Every time it seems to be that way. Yeah. When the Lizzie Borden, we were just casually going on a tour, like a last-minute tour. Trans-Allegheny, last-minute tour, but when we came back both times to do the overnights, it was less active.
It's the places that I don't think are going to be haunted are the ones
that too. And then, like at the Paranormal Museum, there was a day I was alone taking out the trash, and that's like after the years of being there and like little things happening here and there. That particular time is when I swore I saw something, which we believe was a spirit associated with a very active artifact of ours. That's not my story to tell, but again, I was just taking out the trash, and
it wasn't the Annabelle doll, right?
Oh, we're
gonna be spending.
We're visiting her this weekend.
This weekend. Oh.
Casual.
It was nice knowing you guys.
I've met her before, so
I met Robert the doll. There.
Oh yes, I got my honeymoon was in Key West, and we met Robert the doll, and we were specifically told not to offend Robert, and to be nice to him and ask permission to take photos and everything else. And they bring you to the fortress, and it's at night, and I love the tour down there too. It's very interesting.
I love besides, yes, it's like one of the most haunted cities, so I get what I get out of it. Beautiful though. Oh my gosh, like there's something for everybody. It's just like a side note, but it is like there's paradise, pretty much. That's why I went.
Shout out Key West.
I know.
Yeah. Now, I'm surprised you guys would say that you weren't expecting Trans-Allegheny to be haunted, because that's one of the most infamously haunted places on the East Coast. Am I correct with that, right?
Well, rather, we knew that we were taking a ghost tour. Like, we knew, it has ghost stories. Did not look into the history. Did not look into the stories. Like, we went in there, so this way there was no prior expectation, and we could really rule out that, you know what, maybe subconsciously I was thinking about the creeper that I heard about, but that just validated it so much more for us. The fact that we didn't know the specific, but we knew it was an allegedly haunted place, just not the extent of it. And we really got it.
Yeah, we got it. Let us know.
West Virginia is another one. That's a ghost hunter's like playground.
Yes.
We spent a week there just bouncing from place to place to place, and yeah, it's freaky in the best way.
So, and I don't mean to cut you off, Hayden. I know you probably have questions. So, how many investigations do you guys do a year typically?
Ooh,
it varies. I know so what we usually do is we're usually active from early March until about late November. Sometimes we do go into December. This past year we were pretty active this winter. We were going to a number of locations. But normally we'll take time off in late December, January, February. Just plan out where we're going to go. And, usually it involves either her or I finding a location we think is interesting, and researching it and going.
And I'm crazy. So in 2020, we all had a lot of time on our hands.
Yes.
But that's when I started putting together, before I even knew you, I started putting together a map of places I wanted to go. It started with the Weird New Jersey magazines, like, there's nothing else to do while the world's shut down. But the reason I put together a map was so this way I knew if I was already heading in one direction, if there were things along the way. So now I have this whole thing planned out. So when he'll be like, Becca, I found out about this thing in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, I don't know, I'll be like, let's pull up the map and see what's on the way. So we end up kind of knocking out a lot of, and when I do the videos too, it's like making multiple videos on one trip thing. That map thing is very helpful. But so now I just keep adding to it. I don't think it'll ever be finished, but it's the ever-going project from 2020. But sometimes it's like, if we're both free, it's like, where are we going today? Where are we going on this Tuesday? It's been a bit easier too, because I'm not, my job isn't, we got to work around our full-time jobs. Got to fund this hobby.
Yeah.
So I want to talk real quick about, I guess, building the tour experience.
Yeah.
How do you even go putting something like that together? Like, I know you mentioned, some interviews, and, you dig up in archives, follow locals around. How does it all work? How does it come together?
So, I'm glad you asked that. Part of it is, I definitely think, luck. And it did help that I grew up in the area and knew people who knew people. Like, sometimes I'm really impressed now with, I know you can see all the books behind me. I'll see people write books about their whole state or towns they're not from. And I'm like, how do they get these stories? But it evolved over time. I first did the research on Freehold, dug deep into the history. When I would tell people that, hey, I work at the Paranormal Museum in Asbury Park, they usually feel compelled to share their ghost stories with me. So that's how I started getting Freehold ones. And I was getting enough of them. I was like, there's got to be something in Freehold. And then I started going out to historic places, Monmouth Battlefield, and just asking around, and, not being too pushy, but being like, assertive enough that this is my passion project. I'm trying to keep history alive, get younger people interested in history if possible, and a lot of word of mouth, and it helps. It really does help that I grew up in the area, because then I'll remember things from my past, like, wait, this person knows this person, whatever. And my gosh, if I wasn't organized, this is throwing this in here too. When I first launched the tour, it was this past October, and September is when I was really, actually no, it was this past September. I'm sorry. and I was really going big into the planning. I was nervous. I'd given tours before, hundreds of times before in Asbury Park, but this one was like my child, and I want people to have fun. I don't want to mess up. It was so stressful. Literally at the same exact time I was planning my wedding, and I can't tell you I don't know how I did that. It was just, I go to bed and be like, oh wait, you got to call this person tomorrow. You got to contact the florist. Oh, and make sure you investigate this. Oh, and it was like the never-ending thought. Oh, and another thing, sorry, I'm throwing I worked at a hotel in the area, and some of my clients would come in, and I had my little business card sitting on my desk with my YouTube on it. Didn't really mention it too much, but every now and then they would mention something or see it, or for instance, one of the family members that owns the Our House restaurant in Farmingdale, that place is haunted. They mentioned that their family owned it, and I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I didn't want to jump right into the ghost things because I was like, trying to be professional and go, oh, that place has a lot of history. I love it. But then he noticed my business card, and he's like, do you want to do like a paranormal investigation? I was like, absolutely. So honestly, that job made me a lot of connections with people in the area, and it's just getting out there and talking to people, just moving around, and think like you guys. Literally, you found me because I was wearing my shirt at that convention. Luck is a big part of it, and hard work.
Can't argue with that. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Gruber Productions.
So, Don't
be shy. It's okay.
Because I'm like, where do I start? I've always been interested in filmmaking. Like, that has been my passion since as long as I can remember. Like, I'd be a child stealing the family's VHS camera, putting up backgrounds and putting whoever I could in videos, friends, my pets, my stuffed animals, like whatever I had. And everything was about storytelling. And I went to Montclair State for film, graduated in 2016. And then I worked in the film industry in Manhattan in post-production for 5 years. First for a company, then for a TV show. And I gotta say, it was cool to be able to be like, I worked on this, and I worked with Bo Burnham, and I worked with Scorsese. But it was that like being creative that was just missing. And I think when you're just out of college and people, they look at you and you look younger, and it's PA job after PA job. And I know you got to start somewhere, so this isn't me complaining at all, but I wasn't feeling fulfilled. And in a way, like, it was around that time of the pandemic that locally is when, I was being asked to sort of MRD Productions. They're great. They have a podcast. And I was their editor. It was so nice to feel valued as an editor. And I am jumping a bit ahead of myself, but while I was in Manhattan, I did need that like creative fix. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start. I had a YouTube channel like before that, but it was just kind of silly things. I said, I'm going to start something documenting my life in film. And when I make narratives or music videos, whatever, I'll post them up there too. And I did that, and it slowly morphed into a paranormal investigation channel. But more than that is that it started from, I wanted to make documentaries. Like, documentary filmmaking is my absolute favorite because I'm a video editor, and that's where the story comes from. It comes from the editing. The subject matter just happened to turn into paranormal, but I like that. I sometimes also like when we go on a trip and maybe nothing happens or nothing that substantial happens. It's like a challenge for me to edit it into something interesting, an interesting narrative. So it's that editing, it's that art process that I love. And so that YouTube channel is to showcase not only our adventures, but me as an editor as well.
Now, Ken, can you tell us a little bit about your background in terms of what you do? You said you're putting a book together. You certainly have the flair and the you certainly have the flair and the drive to want to go to all these places. Where did this passion kind of come from?
So the passion for the paranormal came. I had an experience when I was 4 years old. And growing up, I wanted to research that a little bit more. And I kind of grew up with the paranormal. I actually wrote a book. I've written 2 of them so far, but the big one was called A Spirited Life. It was kind of my biography, my autobiography about how I got involved in all this craziness. And growing up, my grandmother was very interested in the paranormal after the death of my grandfather. And I mean, she would watch. People don't even remember this. Lorraine Warren used to have a call-in show back in the 90s. And I mean, she watched Unsolved Mysteries. I grew up with it. And, you know, there were experiences in her house. And I had an experience after she passed. And it just launched my interest in all this. And from that point forward, you know, I started going to these haunted places even when I was a teenager, or allegedly haunted places, just trying to find something. And I'm also very interested in history as well, and history and the paranormal go very, very are two sides of the same coin essentially. So just going to these places, I mean, for example, the Kirkbride buildings. I can name almost all the Kirkbride buildings by this point. We've been to about 7 or 8 of them now.
For brief context, that's
the Kirkbrides are a technically they're the first type of official mental hospital in the United States. After the,
but they all have a particular build.
They're all bat shaped and they're all like Gothic looking. Picture Arkham Asylum. There we go. But also when you go there, you know, it's a thing where we're not scared to see ghosts, and that's the thing. There's a thrill to it. There's wanting to know more. And I think the experience that I had when I was a kid is kind of what ignited the passion. It was, I want to know what happened more. Like, I want to know what happened to me. And it wasn't a terrifying experience by any means, but it just sparked an interest, and it's still going. And I was 4 years old, and I'm 31 now. So it's been going on for a while.
Newly 31. He just turned 31.
I just turned 31.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
But really, that's what triggered it. And it's the love of the paranormal. It's the love of history. Just going to these places. I mean, there's been a few times, for example, when we went to Illinois, and we're standing at the grave of Abraham Lincoln. We're sitting there, and I'm just like, I can't believe we're actually out here. It's one of those things. It's the places that it brings us. There's that drive, like, just to explore, learn more, and have those experiences.
It's a great community. And sorry, I didn't mean to like laugh in the middle before when you said it's not scary. If you asked me 6 years ago, I would have been, and someone said, we're going to stay in an asylum overnight. I would have been like, hell no. Now it's like, I need my.
When are we doing it now?
Yeah, ghost videos on YouTube used to terrify me, and now I literally make them.
I should probably clarify one thing also. Maybe Becca could ask this question. Have we ever run before? Once. And we did once. We were
sorry, I forgot.
It's funny in the context, but at the same time, it's terrifying. It was also in West Virginia. It was actually the night before Trans-Allegheny. We were at a very famous abandoned amusement park in West Virginia,
Lake Shawnee,
and we were there for an overnight. And just for context, this is the theme park that was built over the remains of a Native American burial ground, and that's one part of it. And it's in the middle of the mountains, and it has a whole bunch of other history as well. Things. It's
strange.
It's very strange. And the most prominent spirit is that of this little girl. And the entire night we're walking around, and we're feeling like something's there, but we're not getting any reactions. And the owner, Chris, had said, you know, if you trigger objects by the set of swings, which is the same set of swings that unfortunately a little girl was killed on back in the 1960s, that her spirit will emerge. And there's been videos of this and documentation. So for whatever reason, now at this point it's raining and it's cold. It's like 3:00 in the morning. Nothing's happening. Becca put the REM pod on the swing. Now, Becca, out of frustration, not truly this, it's just like, oh, you know, if you don't show up, I'm going to knock your toy down.
Did I really say that?
You did say that. Now, obviously, she wouldn't do that, but the problem was when she put the REM pod on the...
Don't do that. Yeah, don't taunt spirits. Don't follow my... I must have been sleep deprived.
When you put a REM pod, which is a little bit heavier, on a 60-year-old swing... The swing collapsed, and on the swing are a bunch of toys this little girl has had to play with.
Felt so bad.
As soon as those toys fell down, all the devices started going off. And I'm like, now Becca makes another mistake. And mind you, 3 o'clock in the morning, we're exhausted. She goes, if you're mad at us, make the
Okay,
REM
you're
pod
giving
go
me a sassy voice. I definitely didn't have a sassy voice.
I'm making it a little more sassier. Okay. But and as she's saying it, as the words are leaving her mouth, I'm like, don't say that. And it was a second later, the thing starts beeping. And I'm like, that's great. And the whole atmosphere in there changed. And all of a sudden, you felt you were being watched. We were kind of freaked out. And finally, we
did hide in the car for a couple hours.
We were finally like, you know what? We're done here. We're going to go sit in the car. And we were in the car. We probably went there like 4 o'clock in the morning. We did not leave that car until the sun came back up.
There's a different vibe about upsetting a child spirit as opposed to like upsetting Andrew Borden.
And in my head, I'm thinking, if I see a little girl towards this car, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm turning this car and we're seeing out here.
So funny. I forget this. That was fun though. That was fun, but it was scary. And REM pod, just for context, similar to this, but it looks like, I don't know, it's this bulky, ugly thing that I probably cannot bring on an airplane.
You definitely cannot bring it on an airplane.
They're gonna think it looks suspicious.
Oh no.
It's weird looking. It's in my
looks like a landmine.
It does. But
yeah. So I got to ask, what would you say to any skeptics out there? Ones who say ghosts are real, or it's just shadows or creaky floors. What would you say to someone like that? And in particular, do you think you need to believe in order to enjoy the tour?
Absolutely don't need to believe to enjoy the tour. I've had plenty of non-believers on my tour. People like being told a story, especially during Halloween time. But the tour goes. You can have ghost stories any time of year. There isn't just one time for it. But usually, I actually even lead in with, these are true stories that have been told to me. Whether they're paranormal in nature, I will leave up for you to decide. And I tell them the stories truthfully, and they can take it as they will. And I'll tell it, with the same context I was given, which was, yes, we did search for an answer here and there and here, and there was nothing. So take it as you will. And I get that a lot too of oh, it's just creaks. My own husband does not believe in any of it. He's supportive. He'll take me to places like Key West to meet Robert the doll. But he's like, oh, you're just hearing creaks. Oh, that's just the radio. Or and he's so entitled to feel. He's very entitled to feel that way. But it's just like, maybe like, yeah, it could be total coincidence. But all of this gathered together is just something to be compelled about, like something to look into. It's something,
and there's always my thing also. I've always said, we're not out to prove anything to anybody. We're doing this for us, and it's a thing where we tell these stories. If you believe in them, then we're happy you do, and if you don't, then we're just glad you listened, to be honest. It's a thing where everybody has to come up to their own conclusion. For me, I have my proof. I know it exists. So I want to prove this to myself. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it for personal reason. I'm not looking to prove it to anybody else. So usually with that mentality is when people begin to have a little bit more experiences, or maybe a little more open to it. I think I've seen people who, and you and I both have, who don't believe in ghosts at all, whether it be for religious reasons or they just don't believe in ghosts. And they're suddenly confronted with it, and they don't know how to process it. And then in most cases, they'll come to you and I, and it's definitely an interesting conversation to have, and that's why we're here. We're here to help you understand it when the time does come.
That was a really good answer.
Thank you.
Could you tell the audience how to find you guys, just for Freehold Ghost Tours, or for Ghoul Squad, or to follow you, or how
Absolutely.
to go about doing that?
So Freehold Ghost Tours, that's our website, freeholdghosttours.com. Super easy. Tickets for the spring tour just went on sale. There we go, Memorial Day weekend, and I purposely chose the anniversary of the Battle of Monmouth. Freehold is most famously known for, well, besides Bruce Springsteen, most famously known for the Battle of Monmouth. And supposedly spirits are the most active on anniversaries, and many of reports of ghosts associated with the Battle of Monmouth happen around that time. So I purposely scheduled tours June 27th, 28th, 29th. Hopefully, maybe you guys can make it. So that's freeholdghosttours.com. It's also on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, same name, Freehold Ghost Tours. Myself, I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram as Becca G_NYC. The YouTube is, I want to say, my main platform, but the TikTok seems to be taking off the most. It's the same content pretty much. And then Ken's got the Ghoul Squad pulled up.
Yeah, so we're available on Instagram. Well, we have an Instagram set up for any investigations we do. We're still building it. We have a lot of content from the past 4 years we got to put on there.
Absolutely.
But we are at Ghoul Squad Paranormal on Instagram. And you'll see our profile picture is currently the original 4 members of the Ghoul Squad. So if you find us on there, just give us a follow. And we're trying, especially in the coming weeks, we have a very busy few coming weeks. We'll be posting a lot of updates on there very soon.
So I have a question. Are you guys posting the Ghoul Squad? Are you guys videotaping that or recording that and putting on YouTube your investigations, or no?
Ghoul Squad itself, working on getting that one up.
We're doing it through Becca G.
But yeah, right now it's on mine, Becca GNYC. But you'll see me say I'm with the Ghoul Squad. So between both. But right now it's on Becca GNYC. And I am actually, that's what I have I'm working on at the same time, some more videos I'm going to be putting up. So we got some good stuff coming.
And it's great that you're on now, because now we're actually able to focus on actually putting everything under Ghoul Squad. For years, we were kind of just like scattered everywhere between you and I, and now we're trying to centralize a little bit.
Absolutely. And Ghoul Squad isn't just me and him. It isn't just the original 4. Anytime, like someone, I'll say
20 members.
If people come on our adventure, I'm like, you're part of the Ghoul Squad. Like, if you're on one of our adventures, you're part of the Ghoul Squad. We like opening up and giving people experiences too.
Yeah.
Great. So this has been a really fun interview. We really appreciate the both of you taking the time to join us and let us fire off some questions and give us a lot of insight into what you do. And maybe we will take the tour, Christopher.
You guys should. You really should.
So you guys aren't aware, maybe the audience is, I've been nagging on Hayden here to go adventure outside of New Jersey, to go one of these haunted places with me. And
you make it sound like I live in like Baltimore City. And I've never encountered anything outside of West Baltimore.
Look, when I told you I had to drag you out of the closet for this episode, I wasn't kidding, Hayden. All right. So, are you sure Hayden wasn't the one in the gimp outfit, the creeper running around? It's possible. Don't spit that up, Hayden. Don't spit that up.
Look, I recommend for your first haunted place outside of Jersey, Eastern State Penitentiary.
Yeah,
it's not that far.
We've actually been there.
We've been there. We've been there a couple of times. Yeah,
it's one of those super scary ones.
We weren't doing investigations. We were, we're just hanging out. But But I've been to a couple of these places. I've watched a couple of the paranormal shows about them, and me and Hayden are, well, we're not the manliest of men, so it's like,
speak for yourself.
I remember I've seen you with the spider. I know your wife, Hayden. Just trust me, all right? No, but the whole thing is we're just trying to get this platform up and going, and we enjoy being on Paranormal 24/7, and we're always looking for new things to kind of do. And unfortunately, real life is, you guys know, it's always so busy and hectic, and hey, honey, I'm going away for the weekend with Kevin, this weekend, or this next weekend I'm going out with Hayden next weekend, or hey, I'm going out with Chuck over here next weekend. And my wife would be like, I don't know about all that.
I am grateful to say this is my job now. Like the tours are my thing, and I'm a manager at the paranormal bookstore, and so now this is my job. Not many people can say that, so I'm pretty I'm pretty grateful for that.
You're lucky because I can tell you the podcast and the books, they don't pay for the roof over my head or the food in the house. Like you guys, I have to work a 40-hour-a-week job.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat.
That was me until like last month, and we're gonna see how this is a trial period, so we'll see what happens.
I was just working overnight last night at a not paranormal job. So.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that this stuff does not. You put the effort and the time into doing it, and you do it because you love it, not because you intend to get rich off it, but because you have a general passion for it. And I can tell that you guys definitely have a passion for this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, anything, just want to give us a insight into what's up next, what's coming next for you guys?
We're gonna do some investigations of the Myrtles Plantation, a famously haunted place in Louisiana.
Nice.
As well as New Orleans. We're kind of visiting more as tourists, but we'd like to, if we can find the opportunity to investigate, we will. Very haunted city. I have a lot of new videos on the way, a lot of like ranking of most haunted this, most haunted that. And the reason it took so long to gather all the footage is because I would travel to all these different states over the past 5 years. I gather them and I finally have everything. And more Freehold ghost tours. So besides the spring tours, there'll be more over the summer and of course in the fall. And I'm trying to create some events with Freehold ghost tours, investigative related, maybe. Nice. So we'll see how that goes, but it will all be on the website. So definitely things in the works, and the book, his book and my book too. So books on the way, a lot of stuff on the way.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
And
thanks.
I got the name of your book, Becca. It was Dark History and Hauntings of Freehold. Ken, what is the name of yours?
Name of my book is A Spirited Life.
Spirited Life.
I can't remember the subtitle I put on there. It's been so long. So
that works.
You can just type my name in Ken Gogren on Amazon and it'll pop up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Excellent.
Thank you guys so much.
Of course.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested, you can stick around. We're going to be doing H.H. Holmes for True Crime this week. And then 2 weeks from now, Hayden, we're doing Airplane. We're doing Airplane.
Yes. Airplane.
Oh, that's a good one.
Airplane. Our first video that we put on YouTube was The Naked Gun. So here we are, a year later, we're doing Airplane. We got to at least do one of these a year.
Yeah.
Leslie Nielsen's got to be in there somewhere. Yeah.
Yep.
I love how you went from paranormal to Airplane. I love the diversity.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Well, we thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it. Check them out. The websites, the books, take the tours, do an investigation. We had a lot of fun. We hope you learned a lot. I know I did.
Did I do that?
There you go. Thumbs up. But stick around. We're going to be back with True Crime, H.H. Holmes, and we'll see you then. Thank you.